There's something wrong inside you. A wound gone bad, a stone in your bladder, a limb that started to blacken, and in ancient Rome, that means you've arrived at the one place everyone dreads more than the grave, the surgeon's table. They lay you down. They don't put you to sleep because they can't, not really. They tie your wrists. Strong men take hold of your shoulders and your legs. The surgeon picks up a blade that, a moment ago, you watched him heat in a flame, and he tells you, almost kindly, to hold still. You are about to be fully awake for every single second of what comes next. This is why, in Rome, going under the knife was so often a death sentence with extra steps. Let's start with the absence that defines the whole experience, the thing that turns surgery from a procedure into a torture, no real anesthesia. The Romans were not completely helpless here, to be fair. They had things that could dull a mind around the edges, the juice of the poppy, which is to say opium, and plants like mandrake and henbane that could make you groggy and strange. A good slug of wine helped too. But none of it could switch you off the way a modern anesthetic does. At best, it took the sharpest edge off the agony and muddled your memory of it. So when the cutting started, you felt it. All of it. The blade parting your skin, the probe going in, the saw working on the bone. The surgeon's real anesthetic was a team of burly assistants holding you down so your thrashing didn't ruin his work. And the man holding the knife had been trained, explicitly, not to care that you were screaming. This part is genuinely chilling. The great Roman medical writer Celsus laid out what a surgeon needed to be, and it reads like a description of a beautiful monster. He should be young or near it, with a strong, steady hand that never trembles. He should be filled with pity, so that he wishes to cure his patient. And yet, in the same breath, he must not be moved by the man's screaming to hurry more than the job requires, or to cut less than needs cutting. Sit with that. The ideal Roman surgeon felt for you and operated as though he didn't. Your shrieks were just noise to work through. Mercy, in that room, meant finishing the job correctly, not stopping when you begged. There was no mercy of the kind you'd want. Only the cold mercy of a steady hand. Now look at what that steady hand was holding, because the toolkit is its own small nightmare. Roman surgical instruments were, honestly, sophisticated for their time. Bronze scalpels, probes, hooks, forceps, tools called specula for holding openings apart, curettes for scraping. They had specialized instruments for specific jobs, and some of the designs were clever enough that their basic shapes lingered in medicine for centuries. But then you get to the heavy work, the amputations and the bone surgery, and the illusion of refinement falls away. For cutting through bone, surgeons reached for saws, chisels, and drills. And here's the unsettling detail. Archaeologists often can't tell a Roman surgeon's bone-cutting tools apart from a carpenter's because they were essentially the same tools. When the doctor needed to take your leg, he was coming at it with what amounts to woodworking equipment. Picture lying there, held down, hearing a saw start its work on your own thigh bone, fully conscious, with a cup of cloudy mandrake wine as your only shield against it. Take a breath, because we haven't even gotten to what actually killed you yet. The pain somehow was survivable. The two things waiting behind it were not. The first is simple and immediate: blood. Surgeons could press, pack, and use that glowing hot iron to sear vessels shut. And sometimes it worked. But open a body up with the methods available. No clamps as we'd know them, no transfusions, no way to replace what poured out. And a great many patients simply bled to death on the table or in the hours after. A surgery that was going perfectly could become fatal in a few minutes when the wrong vessel opened up and there was no way to stop the tide. And the second killer is the one that makes Roman surgery a death sentence, even when everything goes right. Infection. Remember, nobody in this room knows that germs exist. The blade was wiped, not sterilized. The surgeon's hands carried whatever they last touched. The dressings, the sponges, the very air of the room. all of it crawling with the invisible thing that no one would understand for another 17 centuries. So you could survive the unspeakable pain, survive the blood loss, be stitched up and carried home alive and hopeful. And then, 3 or 4 days later, the wound would turn hot and swollen and begin to weep. The red lines would crawl up your limb, the fever would rise, and you would die anyway. Slowly, of the infection the surgery itself planted in you. The operation didn't have to fail to kill you. It could succeed brilliantly and still kill you on a delay. That's the trap that makes the whole thing so grim. Every layer was lethal. The shock and pain could stop your heart on the table. The bleeding could empty you out. And if you beat both of those, infection was waiting in the days that followed to finish what the knife started. Surgery wasn't one risk. It was a gauntlet of them, run one after another, and you had to win every single round to live. So why would anyone ever submit to it? Because the alternative was often worse. A bladder stone left in place meant a lifetime of grinding agony. A limb gone to gangrene would kill you for certain if it stayed. A trapped hernia was a death sentence on its own, so people did it. They drank the bitter wine, they let themselves be tied down, they bit down on leather, and prayed to whatever gods they had while a steady-handed man went to work, betting their life that the cure might kill them slower than the disease. Sometimes it paid off. Roman surgeons could remove bladder stones, could push a clouded lens aside to restore a sliver of sight, could drain and cut, and set with real skill. But every one of those successes was a coin flip with death on the other side. And the worst part? The Romans got good enough at this that some of what they figured out genuinely worked, which meant more people were willing to climb onto that table. Their skill was real, their tools were inherited and copied for over 1,000 years, and their best surgeons were brave and precise in a way that's hard not to admire. But all of it was practiced in the dark, blind to the two things, blood loss and infection, that were doing most of the killing. They could open you, fix the thing inside, and close you back up beautifully, and still lose you to an enemy they couldn't see and didn't believe in. The better they got at the cutting, the more people lay down to be cut. And the more people died days later of something no amount of skill could have stopped. So that's the surgeon's table in ancient Rome. No sleep, no real escape from the pain, a creed that told the doctor to work straight through your screams, tools borrowed from the carpenter, and two silent killers standing just behind the one you could see. People walked in hoping to be saved, and an awful lot of them were simply choosing the manner of their death. The glory of Rome reached even into the human body, and what it found there, it met with a steady hand, a sharp blade, and absolutely no idea what was really killing the patient. That's where we'll leave Rome for now, with the lamps burning low over a table that saw the best of ancient medicine and the worst of ancient luck in the very same cut. If you survived all 7 of these, you're tougher than most of the people who actually lived there. Stick around and we'll find out what else the history books left out.